Hello and welcome to the Random Wrestling Review local to global series in August of 2000. And as we are in August, that can mean only one thing for this promotion, and that is, of course, the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza, a annual 8-team tournament. And these are the previous winners, of course. Dog and Rose of Bad Crew were the first winners back in '97. Then we had the Hart brothers, Bruce and Keith, in 1998. And then last year, Dave Bautista and Shawn Stasiak won the tournament. So we're into the year 2000. We've got 8 teams. We've talked about them on the previous show, but I'll go through them one more time. We've got the Mavericks, Samoan Violence Connection, Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan, Shawn Stasiak and Mark Henry, Rex King and CM Punk, Keith and Teddy Hart, Red Alert, and Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman. Those are your 8 teams. And I guess the first thing we need to do is go straight to the next player controlled show. Actually, before I do that, let's just be very, very careful. Make sure we're all good with this. So Monday week 2 and Monday week 4, the 2 nights. Everybody's available for those shows, which is lovely. So we are good to go. On to the next player controlled show. And I'm hoping today that we can bring you both nights of the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza, that we can get it booked and show you what happens on each event, both tonight. That's what I'm really hoping within this episode we will be able to get done, the whole tournament. We'll see. If that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Maybe there's some happenings outside of the events themselves that we need to cover and we need to talk about. But that is my ambition for today's episode. And if that means we have to go a little bit longer than half an hour, then we will do that if necessary. And just a little break in the game here, whilst I just give you a prompt to the subscribe button. Please give that a click if you're enjoying watching along with this series. Well into this series now. I'm a long way ahead in my recording schedule, so I've no clue how successful it is or how many people are watching it. And to be honest, I'm not overly concerned. I think as long as there's one person or a couple of people watching along, then I'm still happy. I mean, I'm going to continue to play this game. I'm going to continue to play this save onwards beyond this point, so I may as well record it, right? Billy Kidman has been hired by Ring of Honor on a handshake deal. That's fine. That's not a problem. So obviously Ring of Honor have just arrived, and Billy Kidman's the first wrestler that I'm aware of they've signed. They've hired Dan Maff. They've hired the Renegade. He seems to be getting lots of work, the Renegade. Hillbilly Jim's gone to Ring of Honor. This is fantastic. I love it. There are probably some others. Rodney of the Mean Street Posse and Mark Jindrak as well. This is going to be a very different Ring of Honor than the one we know in reality. A couple of interesting things here. Paul Bearer potentially re-signing with WWF. Teddy Long seemingly out of WCW. We don't really care about any of that. We just want to get to the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. And yeah, a pretty big event. This I'm I always like this. It's the first tournament that this company ever did, and so it feels reasonably significant each time we come to it. We're going to open up with the first round match, which will see Shawn Stasiak and Mark Henry against Keith and Teddy Hart. A bit of a mismatch here, you would suggest. And indeed, we're going to make it just 10 minutes long. We're going to have Mark Henry pin Teddy Hart, I think. Now let's have him pin Keith. We've been seeing more from Teddy Hart as of late, and we're starting to get to a point where he might be usable at a higher level, maybe even than the jobber that he's mainly been since he came into the company. The second match of the night and the second match of the first round is an all-heel first round match. Now, you may have noticed when I was going through the list of teams that there's only 3 babyface teams in this one, and that's because I wanted to bring this match to you, which is Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan against Ekmo and Kimo. So obviously we've been having the constant issues between the Rebellion members. Well, it's going to reach a head here where they have to actually face one another in a tag team match. It's going to be won by Kimo, and he's going to pin Ace Steel, I think. And it's going to be pinfall finish. I think we'll have a bit of partner miscommunication as well in there. Can I just do this without being part of the finish? No. Okay, that's fine. So Barry Buchanan is going to be the reason why Ace Steel ultimately loses. I'm going to book that segment. Then after this, we're going to have another little segment between these guys where basically they're all just angry with one another again. On this occasion, it's going to be mainly Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan angry with one another, but also angry with their opponents on the night. So and Kimo Ekmo trying to keep the peace between the other two and also with the other two because they don't like them because they beat them. There's going to be a whole general argument and this is a whole kind of confused situation between the four members of the rebellion, in that they just don't, it's not just going one way, there's not just two people that are unhappy with each other. It appears at times where all four have been angry with somebody else within the four at a certain point. So the next first round match, third of four, is going to be Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman against Rex King and CM Punk. I think this one we will make 14 minutes long. We'll also make it the storytelling match, I think. And the winner is going to be, on this occasion, Buddy Wayne, and he's going to pin Rex King. So a second time recently that Buddy Wayne has beaten Rex King. But a pinfall victory in this storytelling match. Rex King unhappy. Let's just keep him strong. That's not an issue. Will that be enough to placate him? It will. So that's all good. Then we have an angle, which is going to be the Mavericks coming out. I think James Storm will talk. And we'll script him. I think he's struggled occasionally when going off script. So James Storm reveals the details of his ongoing contractual situation, and I'll go into that when we actually play through the event. But basically, that just shows us what's going on in that regard, following the kind of cliffhanger that we left you on in the last show. Ultimately, with the Mavericks defeating the Hart brothers, retaining the tag team titles, and James Storm's contract being up at that time. Well, here they take on Chris Harris and James Storm take on CW Anderson and Charlie Haas. Red Alert go up against the Mavericks in a rematch of sorts from the match where the Mavericks won the tag team titles. But on this occasion, Haas and Anderson are going to get the victory. We're going to have pinfall finish. We're going to have a distraction finish, I think, here, where James Storm is distracted by Bruce Hart. And that's because we're going to figure out some kind of finish where basically Bruce Hart comes down to prevent James Storm and Chris Harris from cheating, maybe trying to get rid of Woman. Actually, that's a good idea. Bruce Hart comes out to get away from the ringside Woman. She tries to interfere, and that's going to distract James Storm, and it's going to allow Charlie Haas to pin. In fact, let's change that to Chris Harris. Because he's the one losing, right? So let's do it like that. And we'll also make this, do we make this a slow build, 15-minute match? I think we will. I think we'll make it a slow build. See what happens. Yeah, we don't want the title on the line. That's fine. And then after the match, in a rage, James Storm challenges Bruce Hart to face him in 2 weeks' time. And that will be, of course, night 2 in 2 weeks' time. And Bruce accepts the challenge. Make it 5 minutes. So that will be one of the matches that is taking place on night 2. Will be James Storm versus Bruce Hart. So Bruce Hart coming out of retirement for the 3rd time in recent weeks. That's fine. We've got Bruce Hart as a sort of additional, extra, auxiliary person that we can bring in when we just need to fill a gap, or we need to, add another match of interest to people. And I think in this sense, we will have that. So let's just check the booking analysis to make sure we're all good. We are. And it is time for us to do night 1 of the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. And for this one, 133 people of bought tickets, which is a big attendance for us, and it opens with a really good match here, 41 rated contest between these two teams. I wasn't expecting this. Mark Henry gets the pin on Keith Hart with a big splash after 10 minutes and 9 seconds. Stasiak and Henry progress to the semi-finals, which obviously take place on night 2. Mark Henry was a 35 in-ring performance, Teddy Hart a 34, but Shawn Stasiak a 43. He's in great form at this moment in time. A strong start for the show. Then we had the all-heel match as Steel Barry Buchanan and the Samoan Violence Connection went out in a tag team match, which was won by the Samoan Violence Connection after Kimo pinned Steel with a Samoan drop after there'd been bad miscommunication with Barry Buchanan. Kimo, obviously the best wrestler in the ring. Ekmo, his cousin, less so. Second rating of 38 is not bad, but Kimo is a 46 in-ring performance, so he's really good at the moment. That's better than he's actually been as of late, I think. And Barry Buchanan is still also pretty competent. So a decent second match of this tournament. The Samoan Violence Connection are the second team to progress to the semi-finals. Then after the match, we have Steel, Barry Buchanan, Kimo and Ekmo all in a big old argument. Barry Buchanan angry with Steel for costing them the match. Steel angry with Barry Buchanan for that kind of suggestion. Kimo and Ekmo trying to calm them down, but then Steel and Barry Buchanan angry with them for beating them in this match. And all in general, the Rebellion are in a big problem. You can see here, Barry Buchanan's the only one who struggled here. All the others were pretty good in the angle. Then we have the next match, Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman versus Rex King and CM Punk. Another really good match, 42 rated. Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman get the victory to progress to the semi-final in 14:29 when Buddy Wayne pins Rex King. Billy Kidman was the weak link. He's dipped in terms of his performances just as of late. I don't know what that's about. Maybe we've just booked him pretty weakly for some time, and that might be an issue. Buddy Wayne, an in-ring performance of 41, but CM Punk of 49. He's in just absolutely flying form, and at the moment not doing an awful lot in the company, so that's something for us to remedy going forward. And Rex King of 38. CM Punk, obviously, this also kind of furthered the CM Punk Buddy Wayne feud, which is no bad thing. Not that we're intending to keep that going for very much longer. Then before the main event, James Storm, Woman, and Chris Harris come out. James Storm talks about what has happened since the last show, and he obviously talks about the fact that his contract ended on July 31st, but as RWR Tag Team Champion, the management of the company decided that they couldn't, in all fairness, strip him of the title because he had won it fair and square. And so James Storm talks about the fact that he now has a 1-month rolling contract with the Random Wrestling Review. And what that effectively means is that from the moment that the company decide to notify James Storm of the end of his contract, he has 30 days after that point that he will be remaining with the company. So basically, a rolling 1-month contract. He gets given a 1-month notice period at a certain point if they decide that they no longer want to keep him in the company. And the suggestion being obviously that if James Storm and Chris Harris should lose the tag team titles, then the management of the company would invoke that 30-day release clause. Second rating here of 38. I may have been poor in my explanation of that. Let me know, and I will try and reiterate what I was trying to say in a different way next time. And then the main event, which is a fantastic match, and of course it was, because we've got some of the best performers in the company in this one. Red Alert defeated the Mavericks in 15 minutes and 4 seconds when Charlie Haas pinned Chris Harris with a total hostility after the distraction from Bruce Hart. And as we said, the distraction here comes when Woman tries to get involved in the match. Bruce Hart comes down to the ring to kind of take her away from ringside. Chris Harris is not happy about that, so he starts arguing with Bruce Hart, and that allows Charlie Haas to do what he does and get the victory. James Storm was a 48 in-ring performer here. Charlie Haas a 44. Chris Harris a 40. CW Anderson the weakest of the lot with a 33, but a really good match. A segment rating of 48. Very, very good indeed. And then after the match, James Storm angrily, after Bruce Hart's distraction cost them their place in the tournament, challenges Bruce Hart to face him in 2 weeks' time at night 2 of the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. Bruce accepts the challenge, and we have our first match, other than the tournament, booked for 2 weeks' time. James Storm will face Bruce Hart. A segment rating of 40, and the ongoing situation between these two continues. And so that is the show, an overall rating of 45, a fantastic show. All 4 matches were really, really good. In particular, the main event, a 48 rated match, but actually, we've got a 42 and a 41 also on the show. This was really, really good. I think we're going to who are we going to pull out here? CM Punk was very, very good. James Storm was very, very good, and I think Kimo. We're just going to give it to all the best performers today, because they were all really, really good. And really pleased with the first night of this tournament. I'm not going to dwell on anything here, I don't think. I'm just going to check. Size is still 18. So we're going to move directly on, I think, to the next player controlled show, because we don't want to waste any time. We want to get this entire tournament in today. And I quite like the episode. I quite like the idea of getting more than one event into an episode, because it just means that, we've done more and more shows as we go along. I think we're over 75 now, 75 events in company history, which is amazing, really. And to be deep into the year 2000, looking ahead to 2001, and everything that changed within the industry in real life in 2001 is quite an interesting prospect, and I don't know what will happen. I don't know if by this point there were ways to just automatically close companies within the mods. So we'll see if by 2001 there's some kind of thing that means that WCW and ECW close. I don't think they will, and so this will be a world where both those companies continue to run. I am interested to see what happens to WCW, to be honest, because they're in such a bad way anyway in terms of that roster, that you're just thinking, like, how can they continue to live at the level that they're at, that they are? I did promise to have a look at what happened in the game to WCW back in whatever it was, May, when they got that bump in popularity, which I failed to do between the 2 episodes. So I'm going to make a little reminder of myself to do that. So we might explain that in the next episode. Because I am genuinely interested in that, and I think at the very least it'll be interesting to see, like, what happened in the game for that to come about. So night 2 of the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. Obviously, we've got the 2 semi-finals and the final of the tournament. We're also going to see James Storm versus Bruce Hart. That's 4 matches, and the final match will be a 10-man tag match, which will see Ace Steel, Barry Buchanan, CM Punk, and Rex King. Sorry, an 8-man tag match. Those 4 against Keith Hart, Teddy Hart, Dan Severn, and Eric Young. And interestingly here, very quickly, SummerSlam 2000, Bret Hart is the new WWF champion. He defeated Diesel for the title in a 97 rated match. The Undertaker defeated Owen Hart in a 99 rated match. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeated Lex Luger by DQ in a 92 rated match. Yokozuna defeated The Big Show. Shawn Michaels beat King Kong Bundy. How is Bundy still around in this amazing roster? I don't know. A show rating of 95, 73,000 in attendance. Massive for WWF. Big stuff. Ekmo's leaving the company. Ekmo hands in his notice and will be leaving the Random Wrestling Review. It's time he moved on from the Random Wrestling Review, and I don't blame him. He's been poor recently anyway. He's been with us for quite some time. I can't really remember exactly how long it's been, but it's been a while, and there's something that shows me usually what that is. So he is going to be gone within 18 days. I don't even know if that's enough. I think that's going to be just enough, is it, to get him to the next event? We'll have to look at that after we do the show. So let's do this one, and then obviously we'll address the whole Ekmo of everything. You know what? I'm not actually upset by it. Ekmo is somebody that I was kind of, thinking about having leave the company anyway. Like, he was somebody I was thinking about writing out. Does mean I've got to hurry that process up, but so long as he's available for the next show, which I think he will be, yes, I think he will be, then we're okay. We can do that on the next show, which I think is actually the 5th anniversary show. Is the next show, so could be a big one, that one. Okay, so let's do this show anyway, and we start with Kimo and Ekmo, and they are up against Charlie Haas and CW Anderson in the opening contest of the night. We'll make it 11 minutes. The winners here are going to be Charlie Haas and CW Anderson. I'm going to give CW Anderson the victory over Ekmo. We may as well do that, given that Ekmo's leaving. Ekmo's been around the company for a long time. It's not a surprise to me that he's kind of decided that he's going, and he's not doing anything massive. I mean, he obviously was previously a tag team champion, but it's been a while since that was the case. And yeah, I'm not really too bothered about that, but I am glad that the game is moving somebody else on for me, because I am just very aware of not making the roster too static. And then the other semi-final, Shawn Stasiak and Mark Henry versus Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman. And this time, Shawn Stasiak is going to pin Billy Kidman to have Shawn Stasiak and Mark Henry make the final. And yeah, Stasiak and Henry beat Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman in the second semi-final. So then we're going to have the 8-man tag match. Keep calling it a 10-man tag match. It's not. It's an 8-man tag match. And as I said before, it's going to see Steel Barry Buchanan, CM Punk, and Rex King against Keith Hart, Teddy Hart, Dan Severn, and Eric Young. I think, in fairness, we need to give the win here to the heels, because they are far and away the better team. I'm going to give CM Punk the pinfall. He's going to pin Eric Young. And this is going to be, I think we'll give this the storytelling. No, we'll give the next match the storytelling aspect. So that's the 4 versus 4 match. Then we're going to go with the one-on-one contest between James Storm and Bruce Hart. A match that's kind of been building for quite some time, to be honest. And making it 12 minutes might mean that Bruce is exhausted. But James Storm is so good that I'm not worried about that. We're going to have a pinfall victory for James Storm. And that's all we're going to do. I think Bruce Hart will still struggle to get through it, but I think James Storm will carry it to something worthwhile anyway, so I'm not overly concerned by that. And then we have the main event, of course, for the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. The final of this tournament is going to be Charlie Haas and CW Anderson against Mark Henry and Shawn Stasiak. I think we're going to make this one. Should we make it 15 minutes? Let's just go for it. We're going to have the winner be Stasiak is going to pin CW Anderson. It's going to be the second time for Stasiak winning this tournament. Of course, last year he won it with Batista, and this time around he wins it with Mark Henry. Yeah, Stasiak's the winner. We're going to make it slow build as well, and this could be a good match. I don't know. We will see how good this is. Stasiak's been great. So is Charlie Haas. Could be a really good main event. That is the tournament final booked in. All the matches are fine. One more thing to do, and that is Dave Batista, after the match, runs in and attacks both Mark Henry and Shawn Stasiak with a steel chair. So the champion comes in and attacks. Batista comes in, attacks both Henry and Stasiak with a chair. See, basically, that's the way he manages to overcome the odds here. He just comes in, swinging the chair, knocks both men down, and hits them multiple times, chucks the chair out. The fans are roaring their approval as Batista kind of celebrates in the ring as the show ends here with a 5-minute attack by Batista. We're not going to be penalized. That's the only angle of the night, so we had to really put that in. And that will obviously keep their story going. We've got, just checking on the storyline, so this is definitely coming to the end now. I don't think there's any chance that goes any further. That's obviously got the match. Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan and Ekmo and Kimo are in matches with one alongside one another, so that's not going to stop being progressed. And this one obviously gets progressed by the end of the night with Batista attacking both Henry and Stasiak with a chair. So one more time, looking at the book analysis, we're fine. Let's go into day 2 of the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. And in front of 134 people, then the opening match sees Red Alert defeat Samoan Violence Connection in 11 minutes 16 seconds when Anderson pins Ekmo. Ekmo is again the weakest link. He's probably disinterested given that he's leaving the company. He had an in-ring performance of 24 here. Kimo a 45, Charlie Haas a 49, even CW Anderson an improvement in performance here at 37 for a segment rating of 43. Another really good tag team match, this one, as Red Alert progressed to the final. Then in the other semi-final, Shawn Stasiak and Mark Henry defeat Buddy Wayne and Billy Kidman in 10 minutes 14 when Stasiak pins Kidman, a segment rating of 42. Buddy Wayne of 44, Stasiak of 43. They carried the match really for their respective teams. Billy Kidman hinted at his future heel turn, and Buddy Wayne actually seemed off his game despite a 44 rated performance in this one. Then we had the 8-man tag match, another 43 rated match. Steel Barry Buchanan, Punk, and Rex King win the match when CM Punk pins Eric Young with a Pepsi plunge. Punk was the best wrestler in the match with a 49 rated performance. Everybody else lower, significantly lower actually than him, the best being 39 from Rex King, but a good match all the same, and Punk getting obviously another career-enhancing victory in this one. Then we had the James Storm Bruce Hart match, 11:54, with James Storm winning by pinfall. And what do you know? James Storm achieves the impossible again with another 42 rated match against Bruce Hart, who was exhausted by the end of this one, but James Storm carried him through. You can see Bruce Hart had an in-ring performance of 22, but Storm's so good, a 45, and this ultimately translated into a really decent match to be the penultimate contest of the evening. And so to the final of the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza tournament, and a 45 rated match as Mark Henry and Shawn Stasiak defeat Red Alert in 14:44 when Stasiak pins CW Anderson. Mark Henry and Shawn Stasiak win the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza tournament. Anderson was a 37 rated. You can see Charlie Haas and Shawn Stasiak were again the better of the two, but not quite so much in the way that they had been in their previous matches. But still, a 45 rated match to end this tournament, and a great victory for Henry and Stasiak. And then after the match, Dave Bautista runs in as Henry and Stasiak are celebrating, enjoying their victory in this tournament. Bautista comes in with a chair, takes both men out. The crowd are going wild, and he does a bit of posing, does a bit of celebrating of his own before the show ends. A segment rating of 47, a really good way to end this show, although Batista's gimmick is getting stale, so that's something to consider in the future. I've just taken a note of that just to make sure I do tweak that gimmick. And that's the end of the show, an overall rating of 45. An absolutely a great show. Look at the night there. 40s all across the board. 43, 42, 43, 42, 45, and 47. That's about as good as you get, basically, in terms of consistency at this level. Really, really pleased with that in general. Charlie Haas deserves a compliment. I think we'll also compliment Shawn Stasiak. And who else did I want to? James Storm. And I'm going to make him as a good example, especially the way he carried, once again, Bruce Hart to a respectable contest. And what do you know? We've managed to get both nights of the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza in one go, in one episode. And what's interesting here as well is that now Nitro appears to have gone to a taped schedule. So you can see here, Monday Nitro taping 1 was shown. This has got to be a cost-cutting measure from WCW's perspective, because they used to be live every single week. There's not much else to cover in terms of news there, but let's just take a look before the end of this episode at the top 100s, and you can see both those tournament days are second and third all time in terms of quality of show. In terms of matches, there must be some in here, although nothing major. I mean, you've got Red Alert versus the Mavericks. 48 was the 5th best match of all time in the company. We also had in this tournament Mark Henry and Shawn Stasiak against Red Alert was the 11th best match of all time, that 45 rated match. We also had Red Alert and Samoan Violence Connection, 43. I mean, Red Alert have been really, really good. Ultimately, all 3 of their matches in the tournament appearing in the top 20 matches of all time. In terms of attendances, where do those two sit? They are indeed the best 2 paid for shows that we've done to this point, 133 and 134. So that is also a success. And finally, let's look at the list of winners here in the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. Mark Henry and Shawn Stasiak join Dave Batista and Shawn Stasiak, Bruce Hart and Keith Hart, and Duggan Rose as winners of this tournament. And you can see the prestige has gone up to 41, which means this was the best final that we've had so far. Indeed, it was by a clear 4 points. So the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza continues to go up in prestige. And so, yes, the 5th anniversary show is next on the agenda for us. That will be in the next episode. It's a big show usually, so we've got hopefully bring you as many big things as we possibly can for that one. But that is all we've got time for today. So until the next time, thank you very much for watching.